Thunder Dave Steinman claims to have invented Mio Energy and to therefore be the natural choice for spokesperson of the brand.
Mio Energy is the greatest source of energy ever discovered.
Just hit the tag for me. Personal, portable, Mio Energy.
I just went on a vision quest.
You know, I was talking to UFC President Dana White about this on Friday after the UFC show in Florida, about all the injuries. It's been an unbelievable streak of injuries for the UFC, and he says that he thinks guys are maybe going too hard in practice. Now there's so much at stake. You're training with the best in the world as opposed to maybe in the past where you were the best in the gym, and he thinks that's resulting in a lot of injuries. Do you sort of buy into that theory?
Yes and no. You know, I can see from Dana's point of view, you know, obviously he's the promoter and he's got guys dropping out left, right and centre, and that must be very, very frustrating. And, you know, maybe we do go too hard, but that's the way you've got to train to get ready for a fight. You know, you've got to train the way you fight. If you don't train the way you fight, when you fight, you're going to be shocked. You know, it's going to be a shock to the system. I train. Listen, people always talk about, they say to me all the time, oh, your cardio is so good, what do you do? And I say, well, I don't do anything other than train goddamn hard. I'm not a gifted athlete. I never was in school, you know, but I train hard. I want this. I'm hungry. And I train as hard as I possibly can. And that's what you've got to do for success. You know, you've got to be motivated. And, yeah, that means training hard. For me, the thing that causes the injuries, I mean, obviously you get a sore hand here and there from punching, but generally, for me, it's the wrestling. The wrestling is the hardest thing on the body because you're tweaking the knees in all kinds of weird positions. So the wrestling is the hardest thing. So that's the thing you've really got to watch, you know. You've got to have good training partners. You know, you've got to have faith in your training partners that you can train hard, but at those instances, for example, somebody's got your back, they're about to suplex you, and your knee's jarred, you know, and if they pull you back, your knee's going to twist. You've got to know that those guys, pardon my French, aren't going to be an asshole and do it, you know, because people can, you know, sometimes, or, you know, it becomes a competition. You want to get the takedown so you have the bravado in the gym.
Right.
Oh, I took you down. But at the same time, you don't want to be an asshole and cause an injury.
Have you put any thought into who you'd like to face when you return? Because now Tim Boetsch is fighting Hector Lombard. He may not be ready to fight. When you are ready to fight, any idea who you'd like to fight?
Listen, I haven't thought of anything else since the moment I called Joe Silva, of course. It opens up a lot of matches, you know. I mean, for me personally, I think, you know, listen, it was a close fight with Chael Sonnen, but the general consensus is that I won the fight, you know. So this may, you know, if Chael beats Anderson, and that's a big if Chael beats Anderson, then I'd like my rematch, you know. I'd like my instant rematch with Chael, the way everybody else gets their rematches, you know. Frankie Edgar gets his. I don't know. Everybody seems to get a rematch if it's a close fight. I'd like my rematch. I'd like to fight Chael for my rematch and for the belt.
What if Anderson wins? Why can't you get a title fight?
If Anderson wins, yeah, I'll take my title fight. Of course I will. Yeah, I said if Chael wins. If Anderson, listen, Anderson Silva is the greatest fighter in the history of the sport. You know, he's an absolute legend, and it would be an honour to fight him. And that's what I've wanted throughout my whole career. I want to fight Anderson Silva. And, yeah, if Anderson was to win, of course I'd like a title fight. I think I've done enough to warrant a title shot. I've been around the sport long enough. I've been consistent. I'm on a good win streak. Apart from a couple of bogus decisions, you know, I've never lost a fight since the Dan Henderson fight. And that's my only loss. So, you know, my only real loss, my only definitive loss of my career. Other than, you know, a couple of decisions where judges felt that I lost the fight. So I've done enough to warrant a title fight, and I think I match up well with Anderson. I think I match up well with Chael. I match up well with anybody in the division. So, yeah, of course. I mean, other than that, other than a shot at the title, obviously there's some interesting opportunities. There's Brian Stan, I know he's injured, so possibly that would be a possibility. There's Vitor Belfort. Listen, the middleweight division is very, very stacked, and there's no shortage of people that want to knock me out. So, you know.
Isn't it amazing?
So, yeah.
Isn't it amazing? I called you on Twitter a couple of days ago the BJ Penn of the middleweights, in that it seems like every single day someone is calling you out. Like everyone wants to fight you. Everyone wants Hector Lombard calling you out last week. Why does everyone want to fight you? You're a nice guy.
Yeah, well, I think the general consensus is that I'm not much of a nice guy, so that's fine. We'll go with that. But listen, you know, as I said, I've been around the UFC for a long time. I've main evented several times. You know, all my fights are either main event or co-main event. So, you know, some of these little young kids like Hector Lombard coming into the sport who want to make a name for themselves. They want to knock out someone who's well known. You know, there's only one person that's ever done that. You know, so you know there they might be biting off more than they can chew. But and I'm sure that's the case of Hector Lombard. But you know, he's got his hands full with Tim Bowick. That's a great fight, and I'll be watching him very closely. But you know, people want to make a name for themselves. I've been in the sport for a long, long time, and I've had a very successful career.
After the event on Friday, Dana White said they're very high on Hector, and one win could put him in a title fight. How pissed off would you be for a guy who's been in this organization for 6 years, that a guy who came from Bellator wins one time, may get a title shot?
Massively, massively pissed off. You know, I mean, but listen, I understand the UFC's decisions. The reason I haven't had a title shot is because of me. You know, I'm a realist. I understand what's happened. I've been in a position to fight for a title several times. I've been in a #1 contender matchup several times, and I've lost those fights. I've lost fights at pivotal moments of my career. So I've got no one to blame but myself. I can't blame the UFC. I'm not angry with the UFC. I was supposed to, you know, if it had beaten Dan Henderson, I'd have fought for the title, but I didn't. I got knocked out. If it had beaten Chael Sonnen, I'd be fighting Anderson in Brazil, but I didn't. You know, I was robbed by the judges. You know, it wasn't the UFC. So, yeah, it's frustrating to see a guy coming from Bellator who, you know, listen, I'll be honest, I've never seen the guy fight. I've never seen him fight once because I've never seen Bellator. I don't watch it, you know, no interest. So, you know, by all accounts, he's an aggressive fighter and he knocks people out and all the rest of it, but I've never seen him fight. He could be the best thing since sliced bread. I don't know. But what I do know is that he's never had a fight in the UFC. So why the f*** is he getting a title shot?